Hello and welcome to another episode of Adrienne Ross Squared, squaring off from A to Z. First of all, I got to tell you, because if I don't, it's going to bother me. If it looks like my teeth are red, parts of my face are red, whatever, it's not. They're not. But this new external camera, I guess that's the reason. It's showing like weird stuff and pixelation across my teeth or on the chair, whatever. I assure you, I'm not busting out some kind of new fad where you got red teeth or something. It's not a new style. It's just the woes of technology. So I kind of back up a little bit, hoping that helps somewhat. It might keep me from smiling too much because I'm aware of it. But really, actually, what I'm talking about today may not have me smiling anyway. Although, well, you know, I kind of want to go. I feel kind of mean to say that maybe I should be smiling, because I don't want to have to say that about this situation. But at the same time, because of the situation, I'm not that upset. You may recall my last video on this channel was about Ben & Jerry's celebrating Abortion Provider Appreciation Day and even pushing abortion on the Black community, which is no surprise because that's what the background of Planned Parenthood, the #1 abortion provider, is all about. Not going to revisit that, but the CEO of Ben & Jerry's has been fired. So that's a big thing, and he's not going quietly. But first, let me just take you back to some of the social media stuff about abortion and celebrating abortion and all that. It says, abortion care providers are being threatened across the country. Here are 5 reasons why we need to stand with them every day. And then it talked about some on the right are trying to silence providers and close clinics. Providers are being threatened, physically attacked. Communities of color are being hit disproportionately hard. And I already pointed out, they're being hit disproportionately hard with abortion and the damage that it is doing. And the movement is fighting back. Abortion care providers need our support. We honor the abortion care providers, past and present, who are fighting for our reproductive freedom. Now it's our chance to step up for them. And yeah, that was that. And some of the comments were like, we're never eating your ice cream again, etc. So let me say here, I have no idea why the CEO was fired, but I do know that people did push back concerning this whole celebrate abortion situation. And no doubt no doubt some pushing back because it was sort of like, yeah, get the Black babies. Now, there are various things out there about the Ben & Jerry situation. We're going to read this article on the New York Post that is entitled Ben & Jerry says Unilever, that's the parent company. I don't know if it's Unilever. I'm going to say Unilever. I'm going to say Unilever. I don't know. Who knows what I'm going to end up saying. Ben & Jerry says Unilever fired ice cream maker CEO over anti-Trump stance. And there's some other things in here. So let's get into this article. Ben & Jerry's accused its corporate owner, Unilever, of ousting the ice cream maker's chief executive over the brand's anti-Trump political activism. And if you didn't know, yes, Ben & Jerry's is woke as the day is long. And so they're saying he was fired over the anti-Trump political activism. London-based Unilever allegedly removed CEO David Stever following the consumer products giant's efforts to silence the social mission of Ben & Jerry's. So as you see, Ben & Jerry's has a social mission. No, they're not just trying to give ice cream. They got a social mission. Anyway, social mission, which lately has included protests against Israel's handling of the war in Gaza, according to a Tuesday court filing. Okay. Unilever, quote, informed the independent board that Stever, who had been CEO since May 2023, after starting as a tour guide for the ice cream brand's Waterbury factory in 1988, would be replaced as CEO on March 3rd, according to the complaint. So you got to go. That, according to the complaint filed by Ben & Jerry's, was a violation of its 2000 merger agreement with Ben & Jerry's, which, quote, protects Ben & Jerry's interest by precluding the unilateral removal of its CEO. So supposedly you cannot unilaterally remove the CEO. Maybe they should have thought about that before they got hooked up with a Unilever. Anyway. Bad joke. Unilever or Lever had, quote, repeatedly threatened Ben & Jerry's personnel, including CEO David Stever, should they, this was a quote, sorry. Unilever had, quote, repeatedly threatened Ben & Jerry's personnel, including CEO David Stever, should they fail to comply. Ben & Jerry's said an amended complaint filed in federal court in Manhattan. It's unclear whether Stever is still with the company. Unilever, however, said it has the authority to appoint a new chief executive, and that the decision would only be made after speaking with the board. And here's a quote from a Unilever spokesperson to the Post. Regrettably, despite repeated attempts to engage the board and follow the correct process, we are disappointed that the confidentiality of an employee career conversation has been made public. Now, this is the latest in a heated battle between the Vermont-based ice cream company, famous for who cares about the flavors, which has been looking to spin off or sell Ben & Jerry's. Ben & Jerry's alleged that Unilever's control over its posts on progressive issues had hit, quote, new levels of oppressiveness. Well, that's interesting. So Ben & Jerry's is basically saying that the company is being oppressed because the parent company wants them to chill out with all the political activism. Imagine that you just do your ice cream job, but you have a social agenda, a political agenda, and you want to be able to do and post whatever you want. And you're protesting and stuff. Hey, not having it. So you got to go. But that's not going to go easily. Most recently, the company claimed Unilever kept it from making a post about Mahmoud Khalil, a Palestinian refugee whose green card was revoked after he was involved in anti-Israel protests last year at Columbia University. The post would have advocated for his release since Khalil remains in ICE custody. So, CEO wants to post this about this Palestinian refugee and doesn't like it that it was a no-no. Unilever allegedly, quote, provided no explanation for the censorship, according to the complaint. In November, Ben & Jerry's filed its initial lawsuit accusing Unilever of muzzling the ice cream brand. You can't muzzle ice cream. If you just serve your ice cream can't be muzzled. Anyway, accusing Unilever of muzzling the ice cream brand from publicly supporting Palestinian refugees and resolutions to end military aid to Israel. It also claimed Unilever threatened to dismantle Ben & Jerry's board and sue members after the board planned to issue a statement calling for a, quote, permanent and immediate ceasefire. None of this stuff sounds like ice cream to me. In January, Ben & Jerry's claimed Unilever had, quote, unilaterally barred it from making a post on abortion, climate change, and universal health care because it mentioned President Trump. Well, obviously, we know that Ben & Jerry's didn't have a problem posting about abortion because we've already covered that. So Ben & Jerry's said its parent company also blocked a post in celebration of Black History Month in February. Unilever, which also owns brands Dove, Hellmann's, and Vaseline, saw its own chief executive step down unexpectedly last month. Ben Cohen and Jerry Greenfield, founders of Ben & Jerry's, are reportedly considering buying back the brand as they claim the corporation interferes with their lefty politics. I'm starting to wonder, what channel are we on? Are we on this channel, Adrienne Ross Squared, or are we on the main channel, the Adrienne Ross Show, where, sports and culture connect? Because it's the same thing. There are people who would rather be activists and just do their job. I get that it can be touchy for people when they feel passionate about things. But some of these people would do well to remember what Michael Jordan used to say, and that is, Republicans buy sneakers too. He said, Republicans, you fill in the blank with anything you want, but for the parent company to say, cut it out, stop with the anti-Trump stuff. No, you're not going to just be out here pushing abortion. No, you're not going to be out here making statements regarding Israel. It's just, no, do ice cream. So we're going to find out how this goes down, because people are becoming more and more active, and it can come back and bite you in the tail. But like I said, no reason to really smile. I don't take pleasure necessarily in people whose positions or jobs are on the line. But when we start talking about people who are pushing abortion on anybody, and then really throwing it in front of the Black community, but on anybody, and taking these stands that are anti the president and getting behind people who have been out there on colleges trying to intimidate people. Everybody has a right to have a voice, but we saw what was going on on the college campuses. We saw what happened to Jewish students and how they were treated. It was a mess out there, a mess. And you got to go. Ben & Jerry's wants to get involved, then you have to pay the price. So the CEO may have to pay that price, although Ben & Jerry's is standing by him and said that it's a breach of contract, or whatever legal term they're using. May not be the exact legal term, but that's what they're saying, that something has been breached here, and we'll see what happens. But I just wanted to share that with you because of what I shared the last time about Ben & Jerry's, and now the CEO. Hey, you don't listen, you got to pay the price. What are your thoughts about this? Had you heard about it? I happened to hear about it on Michael Knowles' show the other day. I think it was yesterday, actually, on Thursday. What do you think? Get in the comments. Always be respectful. We can do that. And subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so yet. Share with other people if you don't mind. And also, if you haven't subscribed to the main channel, The Adrienne Ross Show, please do that as well. All links that are necessary will be in the description of this channel. All right. I'll catch you next time, God willing. God bless you.